write a poem, and then it got longer and more involved, so I ended up writing this kind of a short story. So it's it's not too long, but it's longer than a poem.
That's we have else. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Okay, here I go. This is about. Well, I'm not going to tell you what it's about. I'm just going to read it.
Did you have a title?
Nope.
It's just a story.
Yeah. Born in a small town and never really knowing my parents, I stuck it out from place to place. For a while there, I was with my sister, but we separated soon after we both got sick. We were sick for a long while. I had heard that she didn't make it, but I could never confirm that. I still wonder if she's around somewhere. Her name was Rose. Waiting for a family is work. You really gotta have patience and a keen sense of timing. When the couples would come around and make faces at me, I'd be ready with my best grin. Then I sparkle or two for good measure and pray they pick the bigger one. See, I grew fast for my age. Everybody else was about half my size. I didn't like to be bathed or combed much, so I looked kind of wild to most folks. Months went by. The places I stayed at were passing me around like one of those crap gifts you get at parties. You know, the one nobody wants. But pretty soon after my first birthday, I met a real nice couple and I went to their house for a while. I couldn't tell you their names, but I remember they spoke Spanish a lot of the time. At least they did when they were fighting like cats and dogs, which was a lot of the time. I was with them for about a year when they decided they didn't want to fight anymore. And I found myself once again on the market. Don't get me wrong, I moved around a lot, sure, but I wouldn't call myself unfortunate at all. I mean, I've met some nice folks in my life. There was Susan and Kim and their lady friends and misters. There were all the kids, good Lord, so many kids. These siblings of mine were sweet, but exhausting. As I've grown up, I've become more and more appreciative of me time. I still like spending time with kids, although, you know, they need to be well behaved and they need to leave with their parents by the end of the day. I just gotta have my space. But I do enjoy a backyard social with burgers and dogs, as they call them. I'm so offended by that. As I age, though, I noticed that moderation is the key. In my younger days, I could wolf down burgers by the pound, but these days I'm partial to my new diet. Let's talk about these days. These days, it all started with me about 6 years ago. It was a beautiful spring Saturday, April on the calendar. Flowers were blooming and the sun was shining, and I was waiting outside for the folks to start showing up. I had my hair brushed. I had my nails done. I had my winning smile and my sweet gaze at the ready. I don't know why, but I just had a feeling that today was the day. On this day, my new family was coming for me. I could feel it. I was still in mourning. It was still morning time when the car parked across the street. Sat there for a minute. Nobody got out of it. Then this lady got out of it. She was all by herself. Now, I don't know how she remembers it, but I remember it like it was yesterday. I was standing outside when she walked by and we looked directly at each other. I gave her my famous grin and sparkle. She tried not to smile, but I had her right then and there. I saw a slight smile as she turned to walk inside the house where all my other friends were. So I didn't take my eyes off that door. I kept waiting for her to come back out. Come on, what are you doing in there? I'm out here. Don't pick the smaller one or the younger one, the one with the right background. I'm the one. An eternity had gone by and still no sign of her. I was getting worried. What if she left? No, dummy, her car's still there. What if she didn't think I was cute enough? Had I lost it? But the grin and sparkle always works. Oh, Lord, I've lost it. No, that can't be. The grin and sparkle never fails. Maybe she's just not ready. Just then, the door opened, and there she was. She came over to me, and she asked me my most favorite question in the whole wide world. You want to go for a walk? You bet I do. We walked and walked and walked and walked and walked some more, side by side on the sidewalks, through the parking lots, by the bushes, by the trees that I peed on, of course, blooming with all the flowers. We walked and talked and talked and walked. She talked to me. I mostly just listened. I think that's what she likes most about me. I've always been a good listener. I felt like I'd been walking with her my whole life. After about a half hour or so, we sat together. She talked some more. Boy, could she talk. She told me about a place called an apartment. Asked if I minded stairs, which I don't. Love stairs, love them, love stairs, yep. She asked me if I liked my name or if I thought she would change it. I kind of like my name, so when she called me, I made sure to come running. See, you gotta train them. She wanted to know if I'd come live with her in that apartment. Not for just a while, but for a long, long time. So let me get this straight. You are the most perfect walker ever. An endless supply of kibble, something called an apartment, and I get to keep my name. Sign me up, let's go. We shook on it, let's walk ourselves back to the house, sign the paperwork, let's go. Now she and I had already made up our minds, but there's this stuff called paperwork, and that makes people called lawyers happy, and well, filling it out takes forever. She had to leave to go get something called a checkbook. I don't know what a checkbook is, but she left, and boy did I panic when she left. I cried for a whole 30 minutes. It took her to get that thing called a checkbook. I had no idea what it was, but let me tell you something. It was keeping me from getting in that little car with her and going to that apartment. And as soon as I find one of these checkbooks, I'm going to tear it into shreds.
Oh, Lord.
When she pulled back up to the house, though, I didn't even have to see her. I knew she was back. And there in her hand was that blessed checkbook. I made the rounds, saying goodbye to everyone, bragging about my new apartment with stairs. Some of the older friends weren't too impressed, but said I lived to regret the whole stairs thing as I got older, but I wasn't listening. I was so happy because today was the day, and I was finally adopted. Let me tell you, apartment living is great. Yeah, I don't have a backyard of my own, but my mom and I walk everywhere, and we know everybody. Who needs a yard when you've got a whole neighborhood? We go hiking, we go to the beach, we go for car rides all the time. Car rides are my favorite. I get the whole back seat to myself. Sometimes we end up at G-Ma's house in a place called Georgia. And sometimes we just end up down the street at a wonderful place called the Chick-fil-A. While one trip takes a little longer than the other, both are equally good. And Lord help me, I love G-Ma, but don't ask me to choose between her and that chicken place. I can't do it. We don't go there often enough. We eat pretty healthily. That's the occasional pizza or bagel or whatever Mom decides to drop on the floor that's carbs. It's not going to hurt anybody. But I stick with my kibble and all the fresh veggies and fish that she shares with me. Show me a dog who gets smoked salmon every week and I'll show you a photo of me. Oh yeah, there are tons of photos of me. The woman is forever taking my picture. Can you blame her though? I mean, I'm a handsome devil. I'm up around 8 years old now, and I'm just as spry and as athletic as I was when I was younger. I'm fit and fabulous. I know that as the years go by, the energy will fade. The grin and sparkle may dim. But I can say that I've known lots of good people. I've seen lots of great places. I've sniffed a lot of stuff. I made friends, a lot of good dogs. Only fought with a few. I always have been, and always will continue to be, one lucky dog. I'm Dawson, and my mom's name is Catherine.
Aww. So we do know that this is a true story, because I'm thinking like, okay, she's in an orphanage. I didn't realize that Catherine was in an orphanage. And then all of a sudden, until you said kibbles. Yeah. Love that. You had it. Yeah. But you know what? Today is the day is your title of that. That's your title. Yeah, today is the day.
Yeah.
Because that was just like a little part in there. You said today is the day, and then that's when it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when it happened.
So do we still have Mr. Dawson?
We do.
All right.
Yeah, in fact, that's why I was late. He was refusing to sniff where he was supposed to sniff.
Oh.
He's like, I don't want you to leave. So, I still have Dawson. I adopted him. He was about 2.5 when I got him.
Okay.
And so now I think he's around 8. And I've had him for 6 years now, and he is a big boy. He's about 70 pounds. He is a Husky Beagle mix.
Whoa.
And so people think he's a German Shepherd mix. He's huge and furry. They think he's a coyote. They think he's a wolf, but he is the most gentle, sweet dog. And he loves everybody he meets, loves most every dog he meets. Mm-hmm. And we have a good time. He goes with me wherever I go.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was just, I love the Chronicle. I love the Chronicle.
And I have tons of pictures of him on that thing right there.
Well, we must share.